everyone, this is Cloud5380 with my guide on the Aberrant Spectre Slayer assignments. In this guide we will be talking about the skills required to fight them, who assigns them as a task, best location to do the task, best strategy using their weaknesses, recommended equipment from lowest to highest, tips and tricks, and of course the key drops from them. Now you can choose a certain section of this guide to watch if you wish, or just click the play all option. Make sure you have annotations turned on. So, to start this guide off, we will talk about the skills to fight them. So first off, to be able to be assigned Aberrant Spectres as a Slayer task requires you to have a minimum of level 60 Slayer. Any lower than that, then you would not be assigned them. Their combat level is 96, they have 900 life points, their attack is a magic based style, and their max hit can be up to 120. Also, while fighting them, you must make sure you wear a nose peg or a Slayer helmet. This will protect you from their special ability, which can hit you very hard. So ignoring their combat level, I recommend 60 plus combat in order to fight them, and 37 prayer as well. So that's it for the skills. Next we will talk about who can assign them to you as a task. So the lowest Slayer Master to assign them is Vanaka, who can be found in the Edgeville dungeon. You need 40 combat to be able to use him as a Slayer Master. Now normally, as a rule, I say not to go with a Slayer Master till you have 10 plus combat than what they ask for. So for Vanaka, I don't ask him for tasks till 50 combat. Vanaka can assign anywhere between 60 to 120 Aberrant Spectres. The next highest Slayer Master is Cheldar. She can be found in Zenaris, and you must have completed the Lost City quest in order to be able to reach her. You also must have 70 combat to be able to be assigned tasks by her. Once again, I do suggest waiting until 80 combat before you use her as a Slayer Master. Cheldar can assign anywhere between 110 to 170 Aberrant Spectres. The next Slayer Master is Simona, who can be found in Polnaviac, and you must have completed the Smoke and Kills quest in order to access her. You will also need both 85 combat and 35 Slayer to reassign tasks by her. Once again, I recommend being 95 combat before being assigned tasks by her. Simona can assign anywhere between 120 to 185 Aberrant Spectres. The next Slayer Master is Duradale or Lapalock. Duradale is replaced by him after you complete Wild Gothic Sleeps, but they both have the same function. They can be found in Shiloh Village, and you must have completed the Shiloh Village quest in order to reach them. You will also need both 100 combat and 50 Slayer to use them as a Slayer Master. Once again, I suggest waiting until 110 combat before being assigned a task by them. Both can assign anywhere between 130 to 200 Aberrant Spectres. The highest Slayer Master you can get assignments from is Curadal. She is the highest and can be found in Ancient Cavern. You must have completed the Barbarian Training minigame in order to reach her. To use Curadale as a Slayer Master, you must have both 110 combat and 75 Slayer. Now it's up to you if you want to wait to 120 combat like I advised, but it can be done without. It's just much quicker if you wait till your combat's higher. Curadale can assign anywhere between 140 to a maximum of 250 Aberrant Spectres, which is rather a lot. Anyways, that's enough about the Slayer Masters, onto the locations where you can fight them. Now there are two primary locations to fight these monsters, the first being Slayer Tower. Now Slayer Tower has the least requirements to access. You only need to have completed the Priest in Peril quest, but it does take time to reach Canifis if you don't know any nearby teleports. Once there, walking to and from the tower to a bank is relatively quick. Now as Slayer Tower is the easiest to access, it is often mostly packed. It's rare to ever find the Aberrant Spectres in there with no one killing them, so be prepared to fight over them with other players. I suggest hop into a few worlds so you find the one with the least people in it. Just a side note, the Aberrant Spectres in this area are all aggressive. So for the other location, the Polnaviac Slayer dungeon, you need a few more requirements. Firstly, you need to have completed the Smoke and Kills quest, which requires 85 combat and 35 Slayer. But completing this quest isn't enough. Afterwards, you need to collect enough points to make a Slayer helmet. Without a Slayer helmet, you cannot fight the Spectres in the dungeon, full stop. But even after all that, I really recommend trying to complete Smoke and Kills as soon as you can, not only due to the cancelling of tasks and the point collection system, but the Aberrant Spectres in that dungeon can be the quickest task of your life. There are about 30 to 40 in there, it's multi-combat so you can fight many at a time, and they are non-aggressive so you have an advantage. The only downside is that it takes time to reach Polnaviac, and the nearest bank is Narda, which you can reach by paying for the nearby flying carpet. That's all about the locations. Next is strategies using their weaknesses. So, Aberrant Spectres have a couple of weaknesses. The first one is they're very weak against crush style attacks. Now, using a crush attack in your Slayer assignments will greatly speed up the task if you can do so effectively. Many weapons have a crush style attack, such as God Swords, Battle Axes, 2H Swords. Their other weakness is the effects of the Salve's Amulet. Now the Salve Amulet does 15% extra damage on undead monsters, which is similar to the Slayer Helmet. Now the Enchanted version, however, gives 20%. Now the Slayer Helmet bonus and the Salve Amulet bonus do not stack together, so basically if you can't use the Slayer Helmet on them, then use the Salve Amulet. However, if you can use a Slayer Helmet on them, then use a different amulet instead. Just a quick tip for you all, as their attack is magic based, if you use Protect from Magic or Deflect Magic while fighting them, it will stop any damage being inflicted upon you. Well, that's all for the strategy section. Next is the recommended equipment from highest to lowest. Now, like I said a minute ago, these monsters use a magic based attack all the time, so if you have 37 prayer and can use Protect against magic, I would set yourself up with the best prayer equipment possible. Me personally, I have always used and always will use the prayer method, as it's the easiest way to kill them, and if done correctly you can easily make a lot of profit from the task, even taking away the cost of prayer potions. So if you plan to use the prayer method, here's the equipment you should have from highest recommendation to lowest. So for your helmet, you should either have the full Slayer helmet, the normal Slayer helmet or nose peg. For the cape, you either want the Soul Wars cape, Ardougne cloak, Trimmed Skill cape, God cloak or Fire cape. For the amulet, you either want a Salve amulet, normal or enchanted, or an Amulet of Fury, Amulet of Glory, Strength amulet or any God stole or holy symbol. For the weapon, you want to go from either a Chaotic Maul or a Chaotic Longsword, Chaotic Rapier, any God sword, Saradomin sword, Abyssal Whip, Dragon Battle Axe, Mass Scimitar or Longsword or any rune alternative. For shield, you either want a Dragon Defender, Rune Defender, any God Book, the Valador Shield, Spirit Shield, Dragonfire Shield, Dragon Square Shield or Rune Square or Kite Shield. For body, you either want the Proselyte Hauberk, the Initiate Hauberk or Monk's Robe Top. The Proselyte requires the Slug Menace quest completed, or the Initiate requires the Recruitment Drive quest completed. For legs, you either want the Proselyte Cuisse, the Initiate Cuisse or the Monk's Robe Bottom. The requirements for these are the same as stated for the body above. For boots, you either want Dragon Boots, Rune Boots, Rock Climbing Boots or White Boots. For ring, you either want a Ring of Wealth, which I highly recommend, an Explorer's Ring, Fremenic Ring or Beacon Ring. If possible, bring a Saradomin God Sword, which will help you a lot, as you can bring it to reuse the special attack to restore Constitution points and prayer. For your inventory, you will want an emergency teleport, either extreme or super attack and strength potions, a few prayer or super prayer potions, 1 or 2 bits of food just in case you get hit by accident, and Holy Wrench, which can also increase the amount of prayer points when you drink a prayer potion. Now, if you get the highest recommended prayer setup, which I've stated, your prayer will only go down about 8 points per minute. My advice is, if it's your first time ever going to fight these monsters, make sure you take a good amount of prayer pots with you. Once you've been a few times, you will know roughly how many to bring. Now, the other setup you can use is to tank them with high magic defense. I still do recommend using the prayer method, but if you want to go for speed and power, then this is the best setup to have. So for the helmet, you either want the full Slayer helmet, normal Slayer helmet or nose peg. For cape, you want either Fire cape, Trim Skill cape or Soul Wars cape. The amulet, you either want Salve amulet, normal or enchanted, Amulet of Fury or Amulet of Glory. Weapon, you either want a Chaotic Maul, Chaotic Longsword or Abyssal Whip. For shield, you either want a Spectral Spirit Shield, Dragonfire Shield, Dragon Defender or Rune Defender. For body, you want either Kirill's top or Black Dragonhide body. For legs, you want a Kirill's skirt and Black Dragonhide chaps. Boots, you want Dragon Boots or Infinity Boots. For the ring, you either want the Onyx ring imbued, Dragonstone ring imbued or Fremenic ring. For your inventory, you either want the Enhanced Excalibur or Saradomin Godsword for healing. You want an emergency teleport, 15 plus monkfish or higher healing food, and an extreme or super set. Like I said, this method will kill them quickly, but you are sacrificing defense for attack, so personally I still would suggest a prayer setup, but it's completely up to you. Well, that's all for the equipment. Time for tips and tricks. Okay, my first tip and trick is saving prayer points. When fighting the spectres, try to turn off the protect magic prayer as soon as you kill one to preserve prayer points, and then obviously resume it when you start another one. However, this is only really effective in the Polyviniac dungeon as they're non-aggressive, but in Slayer Tower, if it's full up with people, this may help you out a bit just to make sure you activate it as soon as you enter combat. Another method is the prayer flash, which is turning off the prayer just after an attack is finished and starting again before they send another one. If timed well, this can be very effective, but also can be risky as you need to be spot on with the timing, otherwise you can get hit. Another tip and trick is for improved drops and collection. Now, spectres drop a high amount of herbs, so if you have 41 summoning, bring them a core with you. Not only does it do the herb call ability, which brings you a random herb, but it also improves the chances of getting herb drops, making your trip much more profitable. Or you can bring either a Spirit Terrorbird, War Tortoise or Pack Yak to help you carry some of the drops and save trips to the bank. A warning though, if fighting multiple spectres in the Polnaviac dungeon, due to the multi-combat your summon will try and attack them. If this happens they can ambush your summon and possibly kill it, so I tend to fight the one my summon is just in case of this happening. So my final and best tip and trick is Dwarf Multi-Cannon equals easy tasks. Now if you have access to the Polnaviac Slayer dungeon, a Slayer helmet and a cannon with a high amount of cannonballs, you can make a task of 260 spectres last 10 minutes. However, you must use Protect Magic at all times, so high prior equipment is recommended for this method. So if you use a cannon in this place, as it's multi-combat you can hit nearly every spectre in that area. The cannon is very effective too, so it only takes a max of 3 to 4 shots per spectre to kill it. Whilst that is doing most of the work, you can resume attacking spectres and collecting the drops at the same time, making sure you reload the cannon when possible. A strategy I use to avoid missing drops is every 10 to 15 kills, turn auto retaliate off and check what drops you've got whilst the cannon is still firing. It's difficult to collect them when you're being attacked by 15 spectres at the same time if retaliate is on, so turn it off to collect the drops, and then once you've got the most of them, carry on with it back on again. Another word of advice is be careful if you choose to bring a beast of burden summon, as there will be plenty of targets for them to go for, so keep going for the ones your summon does to prevent it getting hurt. The last thing you want is for your familiar to die whilst carrying 30 herbs. The cannon is effective and does cost some cannonballs, but most of the time you will easily make your money back plus profit for the task. Also, you won't need hardly any prayer potions at all during this method, so that can save you money too. Also, if you bring your Ring of Wealth, you'll more than easily make some excellent profit. Well, that's all for the tips and tricks section. The last bit is the rewards and key drops from them. So, you will earn 90 Slayer XP per Spectre. A task of 100 therefore will get you 9000 Slayer XP and even more for higher amounts of sign like 150, 200, etc. So they drop quite a fair amount of stuff, but I've pretty much highlighted the best stuff to collect. Now obviously the Grand Exchange and the RuneScape economy prices go up and down all the time, so these may be different to when you watch this, but at the current time this is what I recommend you should collect. So you want to collect any charms. For Siege you either want to collect Fellstalk Seeds, Lantern Dime, Dwarfweed and Snapdragon. Herbs you want to collect Ranarr, Irrit, Aventoe, Quam, Galentine, Lantern Dime and Dwarfweed. Weapons and armour you want to collect is Lava Battle Staffs, Runefall Helms and Mystic Rowbottoms, and for others you can want to collect Ancient Effigies, Clue Scroll Hards, Court Summons and Champion Scrolls, and anything from the rare drop table. 90% of the rare drop table is good money, and with a Ring of Wealth the chance of receiving something from it is increased. The highest reward is 20 mil if you're lucky enough. So my advice is try and collect as much as you can during this task. Use your summon to carry drops if needed and trips to and from the bank to increase money made from this task. Well, that's pretty much it for my guide on these monsters. I am pretty sure I have covered almost everything and hopefully made your future tasks with these much more effective. Of course, if you have any questions about them, then feel free to ask in the comment section below. Personally, these guys are my favourite assignment, especially with the multi-cannon method, the quickest Slayer tasks I have completed so far. Well, thanks for watching everyone. I have worked hard on this, so if you'd be so kind to like, comment, favourite, subscribe and of course share with all your friends. Thank you everyone and happy slaying.